It's 2018's Palm Sunday being commemorated worldwide, the triumphant entry of Jesus Christ into the city of Jerusalem a week before his crucifixion. At the Holy Family Basilica, among the Catholic faithful that are attending this service is former Kenyan judiciary spokesperson Dola Indidis, who sued Italy and Israel for the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. According to him, he was crucified and killed unlawfully. This is the Untold Story. My name is Duncan Haimba. This is the Holy Family Basilica in Kenya's capital, Nairobi. A section of Catholic faithful are gathered to celebrate special Sunday prayers for all Christians in the world. It is the Palm Sunday, and for the Roman Catholics, it is the climax of the Lent period. Among the faithful attending this special Mass is one man who is on a mission. It is Dola Indidis, who has filed a petition at the International Court of Justice in The Hague, Netherlands, seeking a judicial declaration that the killing of Jesus Christ was unlawful and therefore null and void.
When Jesus was born, he was destined to die. But the way he died was not lawful. I would have preferred a situation where he could have been killed by heathens, the way Stephen was killed. But by Pontius Pilate putting the seal and signature on the sentence, then he legalized it. It is the illegality which I went to challenge.
Indidis is an advocate, a former Kenyan judiciary spokesman, and a Roman Catholic who says he engaged his various bishops on the matter before setting the ball rolling. Among them, he says, is John Cardinal Njue, when he was the bishop of Nyeri Diocese.
Then I told the then bishop of this story, and he told me that there was one aspect of it that Jesus was born to die. He was predestined to die. Then I told him, yes, suppose you look at a story where a young man, before he was born, the parents were told that a child would be born and the child would be killed through a road accident. And the child was indeed born, and the child was killed by a road accident. Would the person who knocked the child dead not be charged with causing death by dangerous driving? He said, yes, he must be charged with causing death by dangerous driving. I said, yes, and that is the course in which we are moving, because we live in a world controlled by the laws of this world.
In the cathedral, he cuts an image of a man whose eyes are fixed on a particular goal. He paints the picture of a man in deep thought, maybe meditating on his big mission. One that caught many Christians by surprise and continues to surprise many more over 10 years later. As he participates in this Mass at the Holy Family Basilica, maybe part of his prayer involves his petition, where he seeks to uphold the dignity of Jesus and justice for the man from Nazareth. His first stop was the Nairobi High Court in 2007, when he filed this petition number 965 of 2007. He says in the case he made reference to the trial of Joan of the Ark as his major president. She was a peasant girl who proclaimed herself a warrior sent by God to deliver France from the English, whose trial and conviction was later found to be unsound. Just like Jesus, they were both charged with blasphemy and quickly ran through trial and eventually killed.
In the case of John, the judgment was later set aside. I took that as a lead, and after studying about the case for 14 years, that's when we filed it initially before the High Court here in Nairobi. Initially, it was a jurisdictional query. I went before Justice Alwach, as she then was. And later, after the preliminaries, we decided that the matter be withdrawn because this court would not have jurisdiction. That is the time when I withdrew it from the High Court of Kenya and filed it in the Hague, particularly in the ICJ. The ICC would have limitation because it cannot handle offenses it cannot handle cases which occurred before it was instituted. But ICJ has no limitation. That is why we have gone there.
On 23rd April 2010, Dola Indidis withdrew his petition at the Nairobi High Court. His notice of withdrawal is 3.5 sentences. It reads, and I quote, "Take notice that the petitioner / applicant dispenses with the jurisdictional query and prays that this honorable court withdraws or terminates the proceedings before it to enable the petitioner to file the same at the International Court of Justice at The Hague." End of quote. 3 years later, in 2013, he filed the same petition at the International Court of Justice, ICJ. He says there is a lead they are looking at in this particular case, which is both unique and academic in nature. It is Friends of Jesus through Dola Indidis versus 10 others.
I took a case, an ex parte case, seeking to have a declaration that the judgment and sentence passed upon Jesus Christ of Nazareth was bad in law and therefore null and void. Null and void and bad in law, one, because the trial judge, who was Pontius Pilate, did not have jurisdiction, and he confesses that on the face of the record. Then two, he misconducted himself, and he applied the Roman law in a Jewish scenario.
The former judiciary spokesman believes he has a strong case and will be relying on the Bible for his evidence.
I believe that my case is a case which has got good merit. Limitation, the time is not a limitation, and I believe that sooner or later our prayers will be heard and the case will be determined. I did a lot of consultation, and many people, many researchers worldwide side with me.
In his petition, he is suing Italy and Israel, saying they should be held responsible for the death of Jesus. The suit filed by Chemwalk and Company advocates has 10 respondents listed. They are Tiberius, who was the emperor of Rome 42 years before Christ to 37 years after death, the governor of Judea at the time, Pontius Pilate, Caiaphas, who was the high priest, Jewish chief priests and elders, Jewish teachers of the law, King Herod, the Republic of Italy, and finally the State of Israel.
They all had a hand in it. Yes, they all had a hand in it. You had that, for example, the state which employed the judge at that particular time takes the responsibility, the creates liability of the action of their employee. And of course, it is on record that even Herod was very much uneasy, and he had made contact with Pontius Pilate to have Jesus fixed. So all of them had a hand in it. But again, that those the times of historical shifts because Palestine and Israel, and there are times when things were done within the territory of one, and at other times the territory of the other. So they all take, we have historical injustices in Kenya, which should have been done by the British government. And today you have the government of Britain being sued.
Among other things, the petitioner seeks to challenge the mode of questioning used during the trial, prosecution, the hearing and sentencing of Jesus Christ. The hearing and sentencing under the rule of Tiberius. Dola Indidis is also challenging the form of punishment meted out to the accused while undergoing judicial proceedings.
For him to die, yes, that was predestined, and he was born and he died. But the death was not lawful. They involved a court. A court agreed to be involved when it should not have been involved. It was actually misuse of due process of justice that Pontius Pilate agreed to hear the matter. When he himself confessed that he had no jurisdiction, I said, in the best of it, they should have been, the accusers should have been left to kill Jesus Christ as heathens, just like they did to Stephen. But I believe the rest of it will be history, that he was born to die, and he died for us, and indeed he accomplished his task. But Pontius Pilate carries the burden of abuse of process. And that is why he committed suicide. Immediately he heard that Judas, who was the chief betrayer, had committed suicide. Even Pontius Pilate committed suicide. An indication that he himself felt very guilty. So I'm dealing with the legal aspect of it, that the case of Jesus has not been set aside. The guilt still, the guilty part, the guilty sentence that was slapped upon him still remains, and it will remain until it is set aside. And I want it to be set aside because he was not guilty. And even Jesus himself told Pilate that he had no jurisdiction to hear him. And even Pilate's wife told him that there is coming a man before you. He is a holy man. Have nothing to do with him. So it is his innocence that we are fighting for legal purposes.
What do you want here at this hour of the morning?
We caught this man perverting our people.
He caused an uproar in the temple market.
What will be his punishment?
Sentence him. I see no reason to condemn this man, no reason.
We found him guilty, telling them not to pay taxes to the emperor, claiming himself the Messiah, a king.
A king? Are you the king of the Jews?
So you say.
He began in Galilee and now he has come here.
In Galilee? Is this man a Galilean? In that case, we'll let Herod deal with him.
In the petition, the applicant also challenges the substance of the information used to convict the accused in the trial, and specifically seeks to find out what crime the accused was charged with and subsequently convicted of. He further seeks to establish under what law the accused was tried and sentenced. Premised on these grounds, he is optimistic, saying his prayer to the court is simple.
Because it is ex parte, and because we only want a declaratory judgment, I do not see a reason why we are not going to succeed. So far, there is a lot of response worldwide. Most people support me. There are only a few people who are against.
He is an advocate,
But will he take part in prosecuting a matter he says he researched for 14 years?
When we assemble ourselves, when the matter gets going, definitely I can take a back seat and just give the direction. Or after we have assembled ourselves, we can, of course, naturally, the senior most will take the lead. Yes, but I don't mind. I will not be shy to prosecute this case. It's one of the cases that are very deep and down to my heart.